We're off to Charlotte this week to get in 600 miles of racing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Jason Madison, Winning Bets. Thanks for hanging out with me on this episode. It's our weekly NASCAR show here on Winning Bets, where we look back at last week's race and go ahead and preview this weekend's race, while also submitting our picks for a chance to win $50,000 this week, because we can win $25,000 over on the Jackpot Races app, and then we can win another $25,000 over on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. We'll get to all that good stuff here a little bit later on, but let's take our time first to recap last week here at Austin, down there at COTA, the Circuit of Americas. It was won by Chase Elliott. A rain-shortened race was won by Chase Elliott when the time that they went ahead and blew the red flag there for rain. I got the Chase Elliott winner right. I got actually did one of my better weeks there on that Jackpot Races app. Got one of the most points that I've gotten in a good while, and doing so, I obviously got the winner right in Chase Elliott. Wasn't a hard pick to go ahead and pick Chase Elliott. Again, we mentioned all of his success that he's had on road courses, so it was just nice to see that, that the actually analysis and the research actually paid off here at this track, and Chase Elliott was able to get the win. It was crazy right from the start. I mean, right from the start, when you had teams, pitting in the first couple laps there to get on their wet tires because they put on their slick tires, to start the race. All but 5 teams, it looked like, made the right call. Five teams put on their wet tires, to go ahead and begin the race. One of them was Bubba Wallace. I remember him because I picked him on that Jackpot Races app and was feeling good. Thought maybe Bubba Wallace was going to get it right today, and obviously, things didn't go his way ultimately. But yeah, it was just crazy right from the beginning with all the pitting in the first lap or two as teams, rotated out their tires and made the switches, to the wet tires. NASCAR, obviously, they pushed it too long. I mean, they pushed it too long. You see on Twitter, people were talking about, these drivers being unsafe and someone was going to get killed. I don't believe that, NASCAR put the drivers in harm's way in terms of killing somebody. I think that was certainly an over fan reaction. I mean, NASCAR, the way these cars are engineered right now, there's so much safety goes into the car, and then obviously, into the barricades and into the walls. There's so much safety things. I mean, I know, Cole Custer probably didn't feel all too good. I mean, I know that shot hurt when he ran up into the back of Martin Truex Jr., got him airborne in there a little bit, and then subsequently he ran his car there into that outside or inside wall. I know that hurt like hell to Cole Custer, but I don't think the drivers were at risk, like people made it sound like on social media. But yeah, NASCAR definitely went a little too far. I mean, these aren't the F1 cars that can, go on rain. These things, in NASCAR, these cup cars, they kick up what they keep calling the rooster tails, which is obviously the water that comes up, obviously, from the car ahead of you. It was watching this week's Radioactive. Yeah, guys just could not see. I mean, guys could not see as they were flying around this racetrack. At times 180 miles an hour, and other times, down to maybe 30, 40 miles an hour. So, yeah, NASCAR definitely pushed it too long. Wasn't one of the greatest of all races. It was cool to see these guys actually handle the conditions, but obviously with the weather, kind of, damper the excitement of what it could have been going to the first time. It was called a Grand Prix, which is super cool. Obviously, NASCAR's never had a Grand Prix. It was raced essentially at an F1 home. So a lot of cool things were put in that racetrack. It was definitely unfortunate that the rain happened. I was glad that a big boy didn't win. You could have seen, and no disrespect to Ross Chastain, but he was up there towards the end. But, Ross Chastain, he's not a playoff driver. He's too young to be in the playoffs, to compete with these big boys and all their experience. So I was glad to see, it was won by a big boy in Chase Elliott. So therefore, a playoff spot wasn't taken away by, some event that just was kind of spoiled there by rain. So I was glad to see that. The ultimate winner, though, we mentioned Chase Elliott brought home the checkered flag, but he was not the ultimate winner in that race. No, the ultimate winner of that race was Rain-X. Rain-X got all the free advertisement, all the free marketing that they could have dreamed of when they went to the bed the night before. They could have dreamed of all the advertisement and marketing that Fox was giving Rain-X. They got tons of love, as they should. It's a great product. When I owned a car, I had Rain-X on my car. Fantastic product, but yeah, the Rain-X was a true winner there in that race. All right, guys, so that's what happened at the Circuit of Americas over this past weekend. Now we move it over to Charlotte. We're at this 1.5 mile. It's an intermediate track, of course, Coca-Cola 600. When you look at this race, if you try and analyze it, you can look at some of the other 1.5s that have been ran this season. You can look at Kansas. You can look at Atlanta. You can look at Vegas. You can even possibly look at Texas. Those are other 1.5 or intermediate tracks that you can certainly go ahead and look off. I want to mention a couple drivers that obviously, as we submit our picks here for the Jackpot Races, we get to touch on 8 drivers through our selections that we'll talk about. I've got 2 other drivers I just want to put on your radar, guys that I think that can maybe possibly have themselves a good weekend that we won't pick in this Jackpot Races at. But again, it's just to go ahead and put these 2 guys on your radar. The first one is I want to go ahead and put Kurt Busch on your radar. Kurt Busch, I think, can have himself a good weekend here at Charlotte. He's got top 10 in both races in 2020. Remember, they ran here twice in 2020. One of them was the Coca-Cola 600. He got top 10 in both of those races. His average finish here at Charlotte is 10th, and his driver rating is also 10th here at Charlotte. So a guy that runs top 10 at Charlotte, look for Kurt Busch maybe to shake off some of that bad luck and have himself a good weekend here at Charlotte. And then another guy to keep an eye on, it's Kyle Larson. I mean, he's the same old guy week in, week out, but he's not maybe on people's radar because he didn't race in 2020. But obviously, he's got the numbers here at this track. He got 10th in 2018. He was top 3 in both of those stages leading up to the finish. He was 9th in stage 3 back in 2019, but then he got in a car accident, so he would have more than likely had a top 10 finish. His driver rating here at Charlotte is 11th. And remember, he was doing all that with Chip Ganassi Racing. He's now obviously with Team Hendrick and a much better car, much better equipment. So look for Kyle Larson to just really do what he does at really all these tracks. He is in it to win it, and he's competing until the end. I expect Kyle Larson to be there at the end. All right, guys, with that being said, let's move it over now to the Jackpot Races. This is where we can win $25,000. This is where they give you 6 groups of drivers. You got to pick the driver to finish best amongst the group, and then you got to give them a winner, and then you got to give them a second place finish. All right, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give you for Group 1, I'm going to go ahead and give you Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch is going to be my guy here in Group 1. Look, he got 3rd at Vegas, 1st at Kansas, and 5th at Atlanta. Again, tracks that you can kind of use as comparables. He was 4th in 2022, and he was 3rd in 2019, so he had good finishes here the last couple of years. He's got the 5th best average finish here at Charlotte. He's got 1 win, 3 top 5s, and that's all in his last 4 races. So in his last 4 races, he's got 3 of those suckers in the top 5. So you can know this is a guy that's going to be there at the end. Here comes Charlotte. He's led the most laps since 2018 with 456 laps led. That's the most since 2018, and he's got the 2nd best driver rating here at Charlotte since 2018. So give me Kyle Busch as your Group 1 winner. Moving over to group number 2, I'm going to go with a guy that we've been riding here a lot lately. I'm going to take that number 24 car, William Byron. Just been absolutely incredible. I know he didn't finish in the top 10 last week, but that was his first time in 13 races. He's finished just outside the top 10. He's still on fire. I believe if there wasn't the rain at last weekend's race there at COTA, he probably would have had another top 10 finish. So a guy that's just been finished really, really good there in the number 24 car. He's got the 4th best driver rating last year at the Coca-Cola 600, and he's finished in the top 10 in all 3 stages did he last season, so that was really good. He's got a top 10 finish this season, already at Vegas, already at Kansas, and already at Atlanta, finishing the top 10. And at Charlotte, you get long runs. I mean, look, they're running 600 miles. You get long runs at Charlotte. He's a good long run driver, and obviously, again, he's a Team Hendrick who's been one of the stronger of the 2 teams, all season, right behind probably Joe Gibbs Racing. So he should be good on these long runs here at Charlotte. So like William Byron there in group number 2. For group number 3, I'm going to go ahead and give it his Hendrick teammate. I'm going to go ahead and do Alex Bowman. Last year at the 600, he had these finishes in the stages. He finished first, and he finished 2nd. He ended up finishing 19th. Had a little bit of an issues there in the last final stage, but obviously in the first 3 stages, I mean, his worst finishing was 2nd, so he was right there. He led 164 laps. Did he last season? So a guy that's going to be familiar with running in the front here at Charlotte and believe he can do it again this week and have a nice good weekend. He's behind Kyle Busch with leading the most laps since 2018. He comes in with 223. So another guy that not only did he lead 164 laps last season, you can add on another chunk of laps to get to 223. So a guy that likes Charlotte, likes running up at front. Listen to these stage finishes. In his last 6 stage finishes. He's got a first, a second, a fifth, a first, a second, a sixth, and then he's got one just outside the top 10. This is a guy that at Charlotte, all the stages, the finishes, this guy is gonna be at the top. His last 6 stage finishes, he's had all those in the top 5. Again, he's led 223 laps. His driver rating is 5th best. This is a guy that just has bad finishes. I mean, look, telling you what he's doing here in the stages. He's running top 5, top 3. He's running up there. He's just had bad finishes at Charlotte. Believe just with what he's doing this season, getting 2 wins, what his team is doing, what Team Hendrick is doing, like the 48 team to maybe not have the bad luck come the end of the race, and like that 48 team to run really up high this week at Charlotte. So go ahead and give me Alex Bowman in Group 3. For Group 4, I'm going to go ahead and move it over to number 47, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. here at Charlotte. Look, this is, of all the tracks in NASCAR, this track ranks his second favorite. His second favorite in average finish and driver rating here is Charlotte. He's got the average finish there of 10.75. He's got 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. So, yeah, a guy that just likes running at Charlotte. Not too surprising, just because of the long runs. And this one will take your toll on you. Running 600 miles, going 400 laps. It's going to take it out of these drivers. And Ricky Stenhouse Jr., he can do it. He's got 11th and a 12th place finish at Atlanta and Vegas this season. So just like his numbers here, again, he's the 7th best overall average finish here at Charlotte. So like Ricky Stenhouse Jr. there in Group 4. For number 5, let's go with the Rocket Man. Let's take Ryan Newman here in group number 5. I had it narrowed down really between Suarez and McDowell, and he beat both of those guys in the last 3 races at Charlotte. So 2019 and both races of 2020, Ryan Newman would have beaten Suarez and McDowell. He beat Chastain, another driver ahead of him kind of in this group 5, but he beat Chastain in 2 of the 3 of the Vegas, Kansas, and Atlanta. Did Ryan Newman there. So he won in 2 of those 3. So like that. And he's got 2 top 20 finishes in his last 4 races here at Charlotte. So I'll go ahead and take Ryan Newman. And then the last one, Group 6, we know, takes a lot of luck, but I'm going to go ahead and say Chase Briscoe. And the thing that made me take Chase Briscoe is his consistency. 23rd, 21st, and 20th. Those are his finishes there at Vegas, Atlanta, and Kansas. So I like that. Maybe he doesn't run all that high, but he certainly can. But he's not going to run all that low. And you look at Group 6, it's really just about luck, to be quite honest. But then it's about really that consistency. Finding a guy that's going to consistently run good. I think Chase Briscoe, I think he can do it for us here. I think he can be running in that, just outside top 20, somewhere between that 20 to 25 spot. So of those drivers in that group, go ahead and give me Chase Briscoe. All right, for a winner, I'm going to go ahead and do Kyle Busch. It usually comes from your Group 1 winner, so I've got the winner of this race coming from Group 1. So Kyle Busch, so already touched on him. And then second place, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Martin Truex Jr. Look, he's got the number 1 average finish and the number 1 driver rating in the last 4 races at Charlotte. He's finished top 4 in all 3 stages last year, the Coca-Cola 600. He's dominated this racetrack at times. I mean, absolutely dominated. Just look at what he did in 2016 and 2017 with laps led, getting victories, dominated this racetrack at times. So love that. And in his last 7 races at Charlotte, you know what his worst finish is at Charlotte in his last 7 races? It's 9th. It's 9th. So you know Martin Truex is going to be running up there top 3, top 5 come the end of this race on Sunday. Just hope he can pull it into second place right behind Kyle Busch. All right, guys, that's all I'm going to do it there on the Jackpot Races for a chance to win $25,000. Let's now move it over to the Fox Bet Super 6 app, where we can win $25,000 this week, competing for the Clint Boyer's Stage 2 contest, and we can win an RV. Come back next week, because I want to go ahead and sell you that RV. All right, as always with these, we may change these answers as we watch stage 1. So just make sure you follow me on Twitter. It's at WinningBetsPod. It's at WinningBetsPod. But as is now, let's go ahead and answer these 6 questions. Question 1, which driver is going to have the best finishing position? I'm going Kyle Busch. Looks, the stats definitely show he's going to be up there, and he's going to be up there early. Throughout all the stages, Kyle Busch will be up there, barring, an unforeseen accident, mechanical, what have you. So go ahead and give me Kyle Busch. Number 2, we have never gotten this question, driver with the most points. We haven't quite seen that, so I'm going to go tie or other. I just like the amount of variables you have there in tie or other, so go ahead and give me there. Who's going to lead the most laps? I'll go ahead and give it to Martin Truex Jr. I'll go ahead and give it to him. Long runs are going to be key. Because we mentioned here at Charlotte, we anticipate long runs. We can also know we can modify these answers. So if somebody jumps out in stage 1 and can rip off a long run and subsequently run a lot of laps, this is one that you'll definitely most likely change. But for now, I'll go ahead and give it to Martin Truex Jr. For number 4, how many Chevys will be in that top 15 of stage 2? I'll go ahead and say 0 to 5. I got all 4 Hendricks in there. And then maybe a Kurt Busch or a Ricky Stenhouse Jr. That's how we'll get to maybe 0 to 5, is all the Hendrick guys being accompanied by either Kurt Busch or Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Number 5 was which manufacturer will have the most cars in the top 10? I'll go ahead and say tie. Give me a tie for that one. And which team will win stage 2? I'll say Hendrick. I love the Hendrick boys. And I love the Hendrick boys at Charlotte. I love the Hendrick boys, what they're doing this season. So I'll go ahead and give it to Hendrick. It's either them or Joe Gibbs Racing, really, for that question. So I wouldn't go ahead and give it to Hendrick for now. Again, we may make a change closer to when this game locks as we watch stage 1. All right, guys, pumped for Charlotte. Pumped for Charlotte. This is normally a really cool weekend. You normally get Monaco F1. You normally get Charlotte. You normally get Indy. We obviously don't have the F1 in Monaco this weekend, as that one's raced last weekend. We still get Indy, and we still get the Coca-Cola 600. So it should be a good, fantastic weekend of racing. And then again, we get a chance to win $50,000 here across these 2 laps. So good luck to you guys. Go ahead and hit that like button. We'll come back next week. We'll recap this race that just happened there, and then we'll get our picks in for the following race there. So good luck to you guys on your picks, and enjoy Charlotte. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks for watching this episode of Winning Bets. I'm Jason Mattis. I'll see you again when we are celebrating the wins and making more winning bets. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more winning bets.